As Jacob nears the end of his life, he gathers his sons together. What follows isn't casual conversation. These are final words, words meant to define the future of each tribe that will come from them. Some of what he says is corrective, some of it is sobering. But when he turns to Judah, the tone shifts. He speaks of strength, leadership, and authority. And then he makes a statement that stands out in the entire book of Genesis. The scepter will not depart from Judea until the one comes to whom it belongs.
That language matters. Up to this point, the promises given to Abraham and his descendants have centered on land, offspring, and blessing. But here, something new enters the story: kingship. The promise begins to narrow. God had chosen Abraham out of the nations. From Abraham came Isaac, from Isaac, Jacob. Now from Jacob, the line is being focused even further, onto Judah. And Judah is not an obvious hero. Earlier in his life, he made serious mistakes, yet the narrative shows growth, responsibility, a willingness to stand in place of his brother. Somehow, through both failure and change, he becomes the one through whom the royal line will pass. That alone tells us something about how this story unfolds. The promise moves forward, not because people are flawless, but because God remains committed. As the generations continue, Israel grows into a nation. They experience slavery in Egypt, dramatic deliverance, covenant law at Sinai, and eventual settlement in the land promised to their fathers. But even with land and law, something is incomplete. They are a people, but not yet firmly established under a lasting king.
That changes with David. A shepherd from Bethlehem, from the tribe of Judah, rises to the throne. Under him, Israel becomes a unified kingdom. And it is to David that God makes a covenant. His throne will endure. His line will not end. One of his descendants will rule in a way that surpasses even his own reign. Now Jacob's words begin to take clearer shape. The scepter had remained with Judah, but the promise seems to reach beyond David himself. The prophets continue developing this expectation. They speak of a coming ruler, a son who will bear authority, a branch emerging from what looks like a dead stump, a king who will rule with justice. Some even describe where he will be born and how he will enter the city. These aren't disconnected predictions, they form a pattern. The hope of a coming king becomes central to Israel's identity. Yet history complicates that hope.
The kingdom divides, corruption spreads. Eventually, Jerusalem falls, and the royal line appears to collapse. Exile raises an obvious question: if the throne is gone, what happened to the promise? And yet the line continues, quietly, through return from exile, through obscurity, through generations that no longer sit on a visible throne, but still carry the lineage forward. When the New Testament opens, it begins with a genealogy. To modern readers, it may seem like an unnecessary detail, but in its original setting, it makes a bold claim. Jesus stands in the line of Abraham, in the line of Judah, in the line of David. The Gospel of Luke records the announcement that he will receive the throne of his father David and reign over the house of Jacob forever, with a kingdom that will not end. And the book of Revelation refers to him as the Lion of the tribe of Judah, language that reaches all the way back to Jacob's final blessing. In that sense, Genesis 49 was not simply describing temporary tribal authority. Judah's leadership functioned as a placeholder, preserving the line until the rightful ruler arrived.
But the nature of this kingship turns out to be different from what many expected. Jesus does not organize a military uprising. He does not seize political control. Instead, he speaks of the kingdom of God, a reign that begins not with territory, but with allegiance, not enforced by force, but entered through trust. The promise that began with land expands beyond geography. The authority symbolized by the scepter extends beyond one nation, from Abraham's initial call, to Jacob's blessing over Judah, to David's throne, to centuries of prophetic expectation. The story moves steadily toward a king. And the claim of the New Testament is simple, but far-reaching. The one to whom the scepter truly belongs has come.
The question that follows is not merely historical. If this long trajectory, stretching from Genesis through the exile and into the first century, leads to Jesus, then his authority is not accidental or symbolic. It is the accumulation of promise carried across generation. What began as a blessing to a family unfolds into a kingdom without end. And that is where this episode leaves us. Not with a conclusion, but with a claim. The scepter did not depart. It arrived.